answer's
Yeah.
fresh. You know, I like the old fresh. Now, you've had 50 years to get your story together, okay? I'm just saying.
Shoot, I think about it every spring.
yeah.
All the time. Anytime a cloud rolls in.
Okay, you ready, right? Everything?
All right.
All right, Melissa.
Yes.
Where were you on April 3rd, 1974? How old were you, and what do you remember before the tornado?
We went to school that day, and the weather was just off feeling. And my brother and I went to the St. John's School, and we took pictures outside that day, and the wind was blowing, and the sky looked funny. So when we got out of school, we were car riders. So my mom brought us home, and she said, I think you all need to stay in today, because we always went outside. And I don't know what we were doing, but my brother, we have this big picture window, and he looked out and said, what's that? What is that, Mama? And she said, oh my God, get to the basement, it's a tornado. And we were dead in the track of it. So we had to go down some stairs, out the back door, down some stairs to get in the basement. And we all got down there. I remember we crouched down, Johnny and I, but I don't remember the sound of it. I kind of like blacked out or something. But when it was over, and it was like, I can't explain the feeling. You couldn't even tell the neighborhood as the way I knew it. It was just destroyed. Except for our neighbor's house and some up on the other, away from ours. Mm-hmm. I can hear my mom yelling, Missy, Johnny, you know. And we looked around, and and I didn't even see my grandmother. She barely made it through the basement door, and she got a broken hip and had a stroke. She was 74 years old. There was a mattress on top of my mom, and she was laying on top of my nephew. He was 22 months old at the time. So we got the mattress off of her, and she had a concrete block on her head, and her head was bleeding. And I remember my little nephew was crying, and she was, you know, it was just a big confusion mess. And there were people walking around lost. And I remember this lady, Kelly Dow, asking me where her teeth were. Yes, I remember that, just plain as day.
Let me take you back real quick, because I think we're going from inside the home where you all had taken shelter, and
Yes,
we're having
I'm
thoughts
skipping
outside the
around.
home. And I just want to make sure that we caught everything. So first of all, you all decided to stay inside today because we weren't sure about the weather.
Yes.
Your brother saw it. Did
Yes.
you see the tornado?
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, how did your brother describe it?
It was just a huge dark cloud, I guess. And he'd never seen one before, I guess.
But your mother immediately recognized that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did she have to say about it?
She just said, oh my God, it's a tornado. Get to the basement. And we ran down there, and
Do you remember when you were outside? Were you afraid? What was going through your head?
oh, yes. I just didn't know. I didn't know what a tornado was then. I'm sorry, my mouth's dry.
You're fine. Yeah.
So when we crouched down, and it came through, and there was nothing standing in our home.
So you crouched down.
Yes.
You were in there for about how long?
Oh gosh, it seemed like forever, but I don't know.
You had some descriptions. I know you said you don't remember hearing
I don't remember
the way
hearing
it sounded,
it.
but you did some descriptions in our message. What do you remember from when you were taking
yes.
shelter? What did you remember?
Her, when it was over,
And not when it was over. You said when it was occurring. There were some
we were
things.
crouched down, and like they taught us in school, and that's where I draw a blank, because I don't remember things falling down on us. I remember when it was over, it was raining real hard, and we stood up and just
Did you
kind of,
have anything over your head?
no, not a thing.
So this is what I want to hear.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back. You don't remember a lot when you were taking shelter, but at some point you look up and there's no
Yes.
roof.
No roof.
So
And,
walk me through that.
Okay. So as soon as it was over, all you could see was the sky. And Johnny and I had scratches and bruises on us, but I can hear my mom's muffled voice hollering our names. And we looked around, and she kept yelling for us, and we finally found her under that mattress. And there were people walking around, lost. I don't remember. My grandmother had a stroke at the same time, so I guess I don't know what they did with her, but we got my mom, Johnny and I got my mom up, and by that time, people were walking around and just looking at all the destruction, and Johnny and I were like standing there just in a daze, didn't know what to do, and I had long blonde hair, and I had insulation in it, and just, I can remember it just, and it rained, we were wet, we were scared. That lady asked me, Miss Kelly Dow, where her teeth were. She was, older. And, I was 8 years old. And I don't know, it just, somebody come over and got us and took us to a house on down the street. I look that way because that's where the neighborhood was. But they told us to stay in the basement till somebody could come and get us. So I don't remember how long we sat there, but my sister's brother-in-law came and got us. I guess everybody wanted to know because it went right over where we lived, and they were worried, and so they took Johnny and I and Tay to my sister's brother-in-law's home, and we stayed there. Didn't know where my mom, I guess they knew where my mom was, but it was like the rest of that day, it was just like walking around in a dark place, and for me it was. Mm-hmm. And
so I'm going to go back real quick. Describe your mom's injuries, and you mentioned your grandma. She just got to the basement. So the injuries with your mom and your grandma specifically.
My mom, she had stitches. She had to get stitches in her head. She had a broken ankle. That's when they took her to Ireland Hospital. That was the closest one then. Mm-hmm. And I guess they took my grandmother also. But she ended up in a nursing home and never got to come home from that. So I consider her the 32nd person to pass away from the tornado 4 years later. I can remember going to the nursing home, and her stroke was so bad she tried to say my name, and I was scared because that was my mama that we were living with, that now she couldn't talk, and at 8 years old she was trying to say Missy, and was like me, and she was crying. She would cry, and I wouldn't want to go see her because it scared me.
Yeah.
And we made trips up there, you know, and she passed away in '78.
Sorry.
Yes.
So, what else do you remember from the immediate aftermath? The condition of the town, your neighbors,
yes,
your friends.
Just that strip of my neighborhood where it went right over us. You couldn't tell what street you were on. Have you seen any pictures of it?
Describe. Do
Yeah.
your best to describe.
Yeah.
What was left of your house?
Just debris. We lost everything. I mean, they found something with my mom's name on it in Indiana. It had blown that far away.
Sure.
And pictures, you know, have no pictures left. My dad had passed away prior in 1971, so it was my mom raising Johnny and I with her mom, my mom.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, we lived in that nice little neighborhood that we every day would get out and ride our bikes, you know, around the neighborhood, and it was. I wish it was still there.
Where'd you move to?
We moved to a trailer out in, out of the county, but we were in Meade County. That's the only thing that, you know, available that we found. And, you know, I just went along. I remember us going to the fairgrounds and getting food and clothing. And we found that trailer and we rented that. And then, when it stormed, it was awful. John.
Did you get scared?
Oh, very. Oh, they had to tell me tornadoes didn't come at night because I would not go to bed without my shoes on or my clothes. I mean, it really did a number on me. And from this day on, you know, I know now they come at night. I'm in a house now with no basement. I live alone. And if days before, if they're saying on the news, you know, possible severe weather, you know, coming in, you know, in a few days or whatever, I'm uneasy. I'm just, and if I'm out driving in a car and it's storming, I'm looking around. Where would I stop? What would I do if I saw a tornado coming? You know, get in that ditch. I know not to get under a bridge or anything like that, but it's constantly on my mind. I'll stay home. If I have an appointment and they're calling for storms, I'll cancel it. I won't go out. I won't.
So, what are the takeaways for you and your family from April 3rd, 1974?
My childhood. My grandmother. Just everything. They couldn't be replaced, like the pictures of
What are your
family and just everything I had. I mean, to me, you know, I mean, just everything. I didn't think like an adult. You know, that stuff can be replaced and everything. Thank God we were, by the grace of God, we made it.
Yeah.
But
what memories do you hold of your grandma?
very special. Yeah. She, I slept with her when I was little. She'd say the prayers with me at night. whatever you remember when you're 8 years old from your grandmother, I mean, she was so sweet and caring, and then to see her laying in the nursing home like that, and not understanding, you know, for, you know, being 8, turning 9 years old, not understanding, you know, why didn't it go over somewhere where there wasn't a neighborhood, you know?
Yeah.
Because when it was over and they had everything cleared up, we didn't rebuild back there. You know, because my grandmother was in a nursing home and we didn't have the funds to rebuild in that neighborhood.
Changed the trajectory of your childhood and your family.
Yes. And even, you know, when we finally went back to school and there would be a storm come up, my mom would come and get Johnny and I because we couldn't stay at school. We just wanted to be wherever she was. So she'd come and get us from school early if it was storming that day.
Yeah. And
at night, even if it was a little thunder shower or whatever, the how do I want to say it? It's just the scared feeling of thinking a tornado's going to come again.
Yeah.
You know, it's still vivid, and I just never want to go through another one. And when down in Maysfield, and I cried for those people.
Sure you did.
Because it's just so devastating. And then I see people out chasing them, and I'm thinking, don't you know what they'll...
Right.
I know they're doing it for the good, but are you a tornado chaser?
Right. Let me see your certificate,
Yes.
sir.
Why would you want to do that? I know for better ways of us finding out about them, but...
Looking back at your community, what do you remember about them coming together afterwards?
Not so much, because we moved and it was so far out of town, and we didn't go back to school for a little bit after that. Now we would go back to the house right, you know, afterwards, and just look at it and be just amazed. I mean, how we lived through it.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Just, I'm here by the grace of God.
Well said. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks.
Really appreciate this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for doing the documentary.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh, gosh.
I know. You got me going too.
When we talk about my grandmother, because,
you got me going too.
Yeah, she is very special. And I lost my dad when I was 5 years old. So
you were saying, yeah.
He had cancer.
I'm sorry.
And my mom raised 5 kids. I'm the baby.
Let me help you here. I'm going to have you run that right down your shirt. Tom, come on over.